Yo, what's going on guys, it's your boy Kurt, coach of the Adelaide Absols, bringing you week 5 of APA Season 3. This week we take on GeneralTarheel and the Charlotte Charizards. So this week I brought a Electrium Z Kieran Black, just because that Toxapex, as you see there, that thing was really annoying and I couldn't break it without a Z move. It would just recover off and regenerate any damage I did with his support of Electros plus Landorus meant that I had to play the Z move carefully. I had just enough speed on it to outspeed a Scarf Cobalion when I'm at +2. The way I'm getting +2 on this is because my Gliscor is Agility Pass. I had Fusion Bolt, Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Dragon Claw, just your general set. Ice Beam just hit the majority of his draft, Earth Power hit both the Cobalion and the Toxapex, as well as the Zard X. Dragon Claw was just general Dragon Stab, so that I could hit everything except for a Fairy, and Fusion Bolt obviously to hit that Toxapex and the Greninja. Gliscor had just enough speed on it for Scarf. I think it was a +1 Mega Charizard X, while I'm Adamant with 56 attack, 136 defense, so I'm still getting 2-tapped by a Fleblitz, so unfortunate, but I had Roost on it just so that I could sit there and I could just damage stall and force the Charizard to DD while I click Earthquake. Then we have the Vaporeon, which was Wish, Protect, Scald, Heal Bell. That generally just, it made it so that Toxapex couldn't 1v1 this set. I would be able to win that fight. With 216 defense and 200 HP, I was only 2 hit by Landorus's Earthquake if he was Adamant max attack. If he wasn't Adamant, then I was 3 hit. I had 92 Spadef in it so that it could take a Life Orb Greninja Dark Pulse 2 times while being able to Wish and Scold and just get general damage off. Next up we have Your Funeral, the Mega Guard, Hyper Voice, Wish, Size Shock, Focus Blast. Just a max speed, max special attack for Spadef set, just because I needed to speed tie with that Charizard X, outspeed non-Scarf max speed Lando, outspeed a lot of mons on his team, and just deal a lot of damage to chip up the team so that Kieran Black could come in and just claim lives. Next up we have Mesprit. This was Psychic, U-Turn, Stealth Rock, Healing Wish. Just so that I could get up Stealth Rocks, I could U-turn pivot. I was Kasib Berry so that I could take a Shadow Ball from Life Orb Alakazam and be able to U-turn back and do about 60 to 70% to a 0 HP, 0 defense Alakazam. Psychic was just so that Toxapex couldn't come in. It also hit Cobalion, Landorus, and Charizard, and a few other mons on his draft. Next, and finally we have in the zone, the Magna Zone, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Fire Flash, Cannon, Choice Scarf. Just a general set, just to momentum pivot, trap the Cobalion, Flash Cannon damage on like Landorus, so that Landorus didn't wall it. Hidden Power Fire was Cobalion, that's why I was trapping it. And just a general sort of pivot mon. On Tarheel's side, we see the Greninja, the Cobalion, the Electros, the Toxapex, the Landorus, and the Charizard. So without further ado, let's get into the game. So here I was debating leading with Guard, but leading with Guard wasn't the right idea. Just in case he did lead with the Charizard or a Scarf Landorus, or the Greninja, or Cobalion, or most of his draft, if it either speed tied or outsped me, would be able to kill me in one hit. So I couldn't lead with it, so I just lead with Mesprit. I can either get up rocks or U-turn pivot momentum, as he just goes straight for the substitute, so I'm worried that he was sub with like Gunk Shot and a few other things. So I do manage to break the sub with a U-turn, so he's not super bulk invested, which is nice. I'm still managing to break the sub with a U-turn. I'm just going to go into Magna Zone. So I can take one of any hit from this and Volt Switch out. So I knew he would switch here because I could take one, so he could just go straight into the Electros. I thought he would go Landorus here to stop Volt Switch, Had I gone Volt Switch there, I would have been able to get Guard or Mesprit back in. He does go straight for the Flash. I just go for the Flash Cannon though, just in case Landorus goes in. I'm just going to go straight into my Kyurem. I could take one of anything from this. It doesn't scare me as much. As he goes for the knockoff, since I have a Z-Stone, it's not going to do much. Doing about 30 damage, so really not much. He's forced out with this, and he just goes straight into the Toxapex. This Toxapex is really annoying. I do go for the Ice Beam though, because in case he went for Landorus on the Earth Power, I didn't think he would risk it, but I had to take the chance, so I just go for the Ice Beam. I do manage to get a crit, but it doesn't matter because it's resisted by the Toxapex. So I'm just going to go straight into my Vaporeon. I have no reason not to. It hard walls this thing as he doubles out into his Landorus here. This Landorus was super annoying. I couldn't break it easily. I needed to get... Scald was doing about 70% of this, but I couldn't take a Z-Fly from an Adamant Landorus. He just goes straight back into Greninja as I double here. I double into Guard. Here I was really scared of a Gunk Shot from Greninja because Gunk Shot just obliterated me even without Protean. So I was forced back out into my Magnezone all the time. That was my only way to get in on this Greninja. He just goes for the Dark Pulse. So I was thinking he might not have the Gunk Shot, but I couldn't risk it with Guard. Dark Pulse was his mid-ground play. I have one resist to that. I have no resist to that actually with Guard being part Psychic. So he just goes back into Landorus. I didn't go for the Flash Cannon here again because I thought he would go into the Electros. So I just went for a Volt Switch trying to get momentum. So I'm forced out here, and I just go straight into my Vaporeon. I can take 2 Earthquakes, as he does go for the Hidden Power. So revealing he has HP Ice for my Gliscor, because that Gliscor could sit there and get up rocks and just Toxic stall most of his draft outside of Toxapex. So he's forced back out again into the Greninja, as I'm just going to go straight for a Scald this time. I can get damage off on anything. I potentially burn the Toxapex. So no burn on the Greninja, unfortunately, as I just go hard switch back out into my Mesprit just in case. I couldn't risk having Vaporeon take extra damage. I didn't need to, as he goes for a Taunt. So unfortunately I can't get my rocks up, but I can get a U-turn off here. So he just goes straight for the Dark Pulse, doing a decent chunk to my Mesprit, about 50%. So I'm just going to go straight for a U-turn. No reason not to U-turn. Doing a nice chunk of damage. I'm just going to go straight into Guard here. Trying to bait a Gunk Shot. If he has Gunk Shot, then it's a problem for me. But I can't keep Guard in at any point versus this thing just because of Gunk Shot risk. As he does just go straight for a Dark Pulse. So at this point I'm still thinking he doesn't have Gunk Shot, but I couldn't risk it. I knew I could take a Gunk Shot with Vaporeon, I could take a Dark Pulse. He has Sub-Taunt Dark Pulse. I don't know his last move. He just goes straight for a Sub though. I can't break a Substitute in one hit with my Vaporeon, unfortunately. So he always gets one free Sub versus Vaporeon. So Vaporeon sort of just has to sit here and spam Scald until it breaks and kills. Which is unfortunate. He just goes straight for a Dark Pulse, trying to get chip damage off on me. Not doing as much, seeing as he doesn't have the Life Orb. I'm just going to keep firing off Scalds. I have no reason not to fire off Scalds. I do manage to break the Sub though in 2 hits, so he always gets 1 turn of leftover, guaranteed 2 turns of leftovers recovery, and then loses 25% with the Substitute. So he's definitely losing more health than he's able to recover after 3 turns. And I'm just going to keep firing off Scalds. I can't risk him getting another Sub up. as it doesn't kill. It leaves him on about 1 to 2 health, about 2%. So that was unfortunate. He does get the leftovers recovery. I get more leftovers recovery. So here, he goes for another Dark Pulse, so at +1 this is going to do a lot more damage. I just go for another Scald. I have no reason not to Scald. And with the leftovers recovery, it does put me in range where Landorus's Earthquake would need to be a max roll, thanks to the leftovers, and I can protect to guarantee myself not being in that roll range. He does go for the Electros though, as I'm just going to protect. I can't risk him getting any free momentum, anything. I just can't risk it. So I just have to sort of sit here and I have to switch out. There's no reason me staying in here in case he Volt switches. I just go into my Magnezone and he goes for the Volt switch. So he's getting the momentum swinging his way. He does go straight into Landorus though. I'm either forced to switch into my Gliscor or into my Mesprit here. There's nothing else that I can do. I just sort of have to stay in. I stay in here trying to sack it, just because I needed the chip damage. As I just Flash Cannon into the Zard, which takes it really well. I do get a crit though, so it's doing about 25% on a crit, so it's really not doing much without the crit. I just go straight into my Gliscor here, just because I know I can take one at +1 if he does decide to DD. I can take one Flare Blitz from this thing, so that's nice. I'm able to take one. He does go for the DD though, so that's extremely scary. If my Gliscor can't kill him this turn, and then I really have nothing to deal with this except for Vaporeon. But he does switch out into his Landorus again. As I just went straight for the Earthquake, I have no reason not to just fire off the Earthquake. I could have Agility there, but that would reveal everything, and I can't risk the Agility reveal. So I'm just going to go straight into Mesprit. Mesprit is basically my only switch into this Landorus. That HP Ice doing about 18 health. As he just goes straight for the Z. He is Supersonic Sky Strike, so I know my Mesprit can't take this. Mesprit couldn't take anything except for Earthquakes, so Mesprit unfortunately does go down here, which is rather unfortunate, but you do what you gotta do. I just go straight back into Magnezone because I'm Scarf. I know that he's not Scarf now, so I can just sit here and just Flash Cannon, get some chip damage off as he stays in here, and he just goes straight for the Earthquake. So unfortunately Magnezone goes down without any kills, but yeah, Magnezone and Mesprit both getting a nice amount of chip damage off. As I just go straight into my guard here, I know that I add speed, I can just click Hyper Voice, nothing switches in because Toxapex can't risk a Psyshock. But he does go into Toxapex on the Hyper Voice, which was fair enough. I couldn't do anything to this. Hyper Voice was always my play because I couldn't kill Landorus with Psyshock. So Toxapex takes that relatively well, about 25% from the Hyper Voice, or close to that. He just doubles out now, as I just go for a Psyshock. There's no reason for me not to fire off Psyshocks. I'm doing about 70% with Psyshock, 60 to 70%. So this Cobalion comes in, I'm forced out versus Cobalion every time, I can't outspeed it. It comes in safely every time versus me. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm forced into my Vaporeon because I know I can take one of anything from this. I was switching in Vaporeon originally to resist the... to take a Iron Head, as I thought he would fire off on guard to just get the kill. He goes for the Taunt though, so Vaporeon can't really do anything. But I did go for the Scald, I didn't risk it. I knew he would probably have Taunt because he had Rocks, and most Cavalion with Rocks run Taunt, so my best play was to just Scald. As he just switches out into his Electros, Scald's doing nothing, which reveals to me that he's definitely Assault Vested. That did about 12 to 13%, 12 to 15%, so really doing nothing. So I'm forced back out every time. I just go straight into guard because I know I can take one of whatever. Knockoff still hurts, but I do take one of whatever. So he goes for the Volt Switch, getting the momentum back in his favor. As he goes into Charizard, so here I'm basically forced to risk the Speed tie because Gliscor can't take 2 after Stealth Rocks. So I think it was a Speed tie, I don't remember, he didn't tell me his set. So I do manage to kill the Charizard with my guard, which is nice because that Charizard was a huge threat. He just goes straight back into Cavalion though. Every time versus Cavalion, I just go straight into my Gliscor or my Vaporeon. Every time. There's no reason for me not to. They just eat every hit. So he just goes for the Iron Head. I know that it's doing nothing now, thanks to my physical defense investment. I can take any close combat, I can take any Iron Head. So he's forced back out into his Landorus. I knew he would go Landorus here. My best play was always to Earthquake though, just in case he did chance staying in. I do double though, into my Vaporeon because I know I can take one of whatever. Since he wasted his Z move, I managed to take off, I managed to be able to be put in range of Earthquake's not killing. So with Earthquake not killing, I'm able to just fire off Wishes, fire off Scalds. So I can just Wish Protect a few turns, get my health back enough that Scald just kills, which is all I needed Vaporeon to do. At this point was to just kill this Landorus. It was always the go-to to just Wish and Protect and get off Scalds. If he had Sword Stance here, then the only way I killed this was with Guard, which I don't know if I killed at this range. If he had Bulk Investment, without Bulk Investment, I definitely killed here. With Bulk Investment, I don't think I killed. So he just goes for the Earthquake, leaving me on about 75. I just go straight for a Scald. There's no reason for me not to fire off the Scald, which is enough to take the Landorus down. So with Landorus down, it's 4-3 in my favor, which is looking nice. Vaporeon is still kind of idle here because it beats Toxapex 1v1, so I'm forced to scout what this thing's going to do. I can always go into my Gliscor, it takes one of whatever. I don't have to risk knockoff because I've lost my Toxic Orb. Hyper Voice from Guard is doing a lot, but I can't risk taking too much damage. If he had a physical poison move or a special poison move, then Guard couldn't take it. I had to go Guard though. I know I could take one. I couldn't risk a HP Ice either. I just really couldn't risk anything with this, just because I needed to be able to I just needed to be able to use this to beat Toxapex later. So I'm forced back out into my Gliscor every time versus this thing. Gliscor just ate any hit from this. I could Roost, I could EQ and kill this thing. So Gliscor just sort of ate any hit from this. The only way he killed this thing was to flinch it to death. He couldn't kill it if I could get off a Roost. I just sat here clicking Roosts because I couldn't get too low of health in case the Toxapex come in, because I needed to be able to get the chip damage off so that either Kyurem Black or Guard could come in and finish it off. So he withdraws the Cavalion into the Electros. Electros is super annoying for this Gliscor as I just fire off the Agility. I have no reason not to fire off Agility. With my health, getting my health back, I'm back at full HP. I can now safely Baton Pass straight into my Kyurem Black. If he's Assault Vest, he takes one. I can take one of anything except for Dragon or Fighting Stab. Dragon or fighting type moves, it does a lot of damage. I could still take one, but I'd be very low on health, as he does reveal he has Dragon Pulse. So that's unfortunate. I won't be able to take a second one of these. Leaving me on 18 health, I just have to fire off an Earth Power here. I need to get all the chip damage I can. Guard finishes this thing off. So being able to kill that thing later will be really helpful. Unfortunately, Kieran Black does go down. So Kieran Black doesn't pick up a kill this game just because that Assault Vessel Electros is super bulky especially. So I just go straight into my guard here. I still have one rock switch in left on this guard after this, so I can switch it out one more time once the Cabalion's dead. Once Cabalion is dead, guard comes in and kills two things. I just go straight for a Psyshock here, because it does a decent... Cabalion's in range, it does a decent chunk to the Electros, which puts it in range for a Vaporeon. I'm just going to go for another Psyshock. He has no reason to switch here, he can't keep switching out. So, guard killing the Toxapex there, which is a huge thing for my Vaporeon. So Vaporeon's not as needed now. He just goes straight back into Cabalion. I'm forced out every time versus this. I knew I had one more rock switch in. So I'm just forced into my Gliscor. It can take one of whatever this thing fires. So I know he's Taunt, Rocks, Iron Head. I don't know his last move. I don't think it would have mattered. So I try an Earthquake here, just because it kills even if he's Shocker, but I do get flinched. So the only way he kills me here is flinching me to death. I can't outstall the damage with Poison Heal, and I flinch again. So it's looking pretty badly here. He has to flinch me to death. Once he flinches this thing to death, he just wins with Electros once guard goes down. He gets another flinch with Iron Head. I'm sitting here trying to roost because I can't go too low for the Electros. I do finally get off a roost though, so unless he flinches me to death, I can always outstall him with roost. He'd be running low on Iron Heads before he can kill me with roost. So he's just got to keep firing off Iron Heads, doing a decent chunk. I just go straight for the Earthquake. He does reveal his Shocker, but he is in range of an Adamant Earthquake to finish him off. So the Cabalion goes down, which leaves him with just Electros. Gliscor can't do anything. Vaporeon is basically dead to the Electros no matter what he goes for, because it outspeeds. So I'm basically forced into a situation where I have to sack the sack the Vaporeon off, sorry. It can't do anything. His play is always to just click knockoff and get damage. I can't touch that thing. So I'm forced to just sack Vaporeon here. I do manage to go for Skull though, so getting a little bit more chip, doesn't matter what I go for now with guard, I always kill. Unfortunately Vaporeon goes down, but it was able to kill the Landorus and the Greninja, so those were big kills. Guard coming in here, finishing off the game. I knew I had one switch in left, this was all I could do. Unless I got this kill here, I wasn't able to beat this if I couldn't switch in here, I couldn't beat the Electros. So the Electros goes down, and the Adelaide Absols finally pick up their first win in APA Season 3 against GeneralTarheel. It was a good game, nonetheless. There was really no hacks. I enjoyed the game a lot. So I hope to see you all in Week 6 when we take on Deathly IM and the Seattle Drizzlers.